Morning. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. I do realize that I did start this a bit late and have folks kind of join us here. So I do have the risk disclosure up, guys. So you can take a look at that. Again, just going to paraphrase here that I'm not here in any sort of investment advisory sort of capacity here. That the information I'm providing is purely educational, and that we all understand that there's a fair amount of risk that comes with trading. Okay, it's trading futures, and that we should only be using risk capital, money that we can otherwise afford to lose without compromising our financial lifestyles or financial security, I should say, and lifestyles. Okay. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or offer to buy or sell. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right. So now that I got the risk disclosure out of the way, guys, we'll go ahead and take a look at the news here and see if there's anything going on the news front that we should be aware of. All right. Let's see, make sure, yep, you guys can see that. All right. So looking at the news front, we just got a trade balance report coming up, came in as negative. We have a Fed household credit report, which is kind of on the sort of maybe 2-star kind of thing. And then we have yields, note yields coming out at 1 p.m. Okay. And then we our normal 10 a.m. expiration. So not much, I would say, in comparison to some of the other days that we have news events. Just wanted to see if we have something on the horizon. We obviously have, crude oil reports, and then we have our jobless claims later this week. So that should potentially shake up the markets a bit. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the charts here. Okay. So here's a chart of gold. And we're going to go ahead and turn off some of these levels for now, and just focus our attention a bit on the daily. Okay, just looking at the daily, just getting a feel for what the daily is trying to accomplish here. Remove all my drawings, okay, and just get a feel for what's going on. And like I said, of late, we've been, somewhat of, I would say, in the last few days, outside of a little bit of a rally that we had yesterday, we've been kind of in a downward kind of trek in the gold market. Okay. In somewhat range bound, highs of 25.40, lows of 23.57. And we've been kind of in this, we've been in this range ever since, right? We've been in this kind of range ever since. Of late, as I mentioned, we've been a bit bearish, although yesterday we had a bit of a rally, okay, in this market off of, say, some demand zones here, okay, right around 2400. 2400 seems to be somewhat of a demand area because we've rallied from that area on multiple occasions. All right. So let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. Okay. 4-hour chart again, we continue to develop some structure here to the downside. Okay. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And we're developing a bearish engulfing candle here on the 4-hour. Okay, still a ways away. We're about 1 hour away from this candle closing here. But if it does indeed close at this level, well, then there's, from a 4-hour perspective, it appears that we have some more room to the downside. Okay, 30-minute chart. Okay, 30-minute chart. Before I add my levels to this, let's okay, we'll go ahead and do our volume profile analysis here. So we'll start with the 830 bar, drag that across to the 430 bar. Okay, there's our value. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up initial balance since the market is already open. Okay, so far the initial balance range is, relatively narrow. Okay, but we still have one more candle here that needs to be completed here. Okay, so still not a completed initial balance range, but the fact is that we are indeed inside value. Okay, so there is some sort of balance that's going on of price with respect to gold at this point. Seems like folks are relatively okay with 2450 and say 2429. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our levels here. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and all right, we're going to go ahead and add our levels. Okay, these are the levels I'm going to be focusing on in the gold market. Okay, so again, just going to go ahead and open up ADR here for now. Okay, so right now we're on the bottom end. We're coming close to this value area low, which could offer us a opportunity for reversal in price. Okay, this is one of the zones that I'll be looking at. Okay, if we get a break, of this, say, ADR zone, and also a break of the initial balance, then maybe we have some initiative price action that will take us back to 2410, maybe as low as 2400. Okay. So that's kind of, I would say, more of a bearish scenario. All right. If we are more bullish on this market, then again, we would have to wait for maybe some lower pricing. Okay. So 2403, 2404 seems like a logical level. This level here at ADR 2430. Okay. Seems to be a logical level, but I need to see some structure. I need to see some price action to indicate that this area is going to indeed be respected. Okay. So, I would need to see some sort of, similar to what we had here, a little bit of a, 3-bar reversal or something along those lines for me to be convinced that this area is going to indeed provide us some support. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open up the ASR level. The ASR level is just below. So we have some areas here that could potentially be supportive. Okay. All the way down to 2424. Okay. So this area right here seems to be an area zone that we could expect some buyers, all right, and could provide us maybe a rally back up to VWAP or back up to the other side of initial balance. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking at on the gold market right now. Like I said, I'm going to be a little bit patient. I'm going to remain patient and wait for some sort of initiative price action to tell me what direction that they want to take this market. Okay, right now we're in the middle of value. There's really nothing for me to do other than to wait to see if I get some sort of reaction away from these ADR and ASR levels. All right, if I get a reaction, then maybe I have an opportunity that will take me back to, say, settlement price or take me back to initial balance high on the long. All right, if I do break initial balance low and maybe get below ASR, then looks like we are headed to lower prices. And the next area of significance is this 2403 level that I see on the gold market. Okay, so those are a few scenarios and the areas that I'm going to be particularly focused in on. I'm going to double check and make sure really quickly here and make sure I've captured these ASR levels. The ASR levels look like they're accurate. So yeah, so this is basically what we're looking at here in the gold market. All right, so right now, obviously, we see some, pretty strong bearish action, but we are coming into some areas that, could provide a potential bounce in price. But I'm not just going to blindly, place a buy limit order down these levels. I'm going to wait for some sort of price action to indicate that this indeed is an area that there are buyers and they have the resources to take the market back. Okay. All right, so that's how is volatility VIX affected GC? The VIX generally I would say is more of an equity measure of volatility than I would say than gold. I don't use the VIX in any way to measure volatility for the market. So that's more of an equity. That's more of an equity measure. And even for the equities, I don't really pay much attention to it. I'm more interested. Yes, correct. And I'm more interested in my price levels. Okay. That's where I pay most of my attention. I look at the ranges of the initial balance to measure volatility. Okay. That's if I have a wider initial balance range, that means will have some volatility inside that range. Okay. More so than other days. So I look more at initial balance, I would say, to kind of as a measure. If I get a narrow initial balance range, that means volatility is light and we're waiting for some initiative price action one way or the other. Okay. All right. So that's kind of what I have for gold. We're going to go ahead and move on. Okay. We're going to move on to crude oil. Okay. So let's locate the crude oil chart. Okay. There it is. We're going to move that open that up here. We're going to go ahead and clear out some of our drawings. We're going to clear out some of our levels. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and open up the daily chart. All right. And then we're just going to ask ourselves the question, well, what is the market trying to do? Well, the market is trying to move lower in this market, right? We have a series of lower lows and lower highs, lower lows and lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. So from a daily perspective, it looks like this market wants to head lower. Okay. Looking over here on the left, we're about to potentially break a relatively important level here. Okay, at 72.41. Okay. Not seeing any evidence that buyers are stepping in here. Okay. So what's the next level? Well, next level looks like it's going to be 70. Okay. I don't see anything in its path, maybe 71, that could cause the price to change direction. Okay. So that's kind of on the daily chart. I would say that we are very much bearish in the market. All right. In crude oil. All right. So let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart. Let's turn off initial balance here for a moment. Where is initial balance? Okay, let's turn that off for a second. Okay, we reacted away from this 233-day EMA. Again, continued to create some structure to the downside. We maybe created a little bit of a, kind of a double top here. Okay, around an area here around 74.50, 74.60. Okay. So yeah, nothing on the 4-hour is telling us anything different than what we saw on the daily, right? This looks like a structure that is looking lower. There was an attempt here to go higher. There was an attempt here to go higher. It stalled at that same level. Okay. So, and continued its current direction of lower prices. All right. So 4-hour daily is bearish. 4-hour is bearish. Let's take a look at the 30. Okay. 30-minute chart. Again, we're looking at some of these levels here. First thing I'm going to draw in is my volume profile. I'm going to locate the 9 o'clock bar from Monday. Okay, there it is. And then I'll drag that to the 430 bar. Here we are. Okay, so it looks like the market wants to open below value, which is an indication that that the bears are very much in control of this market. We just had the open of the market here, so we have initial balance kind of developing here. But yeah, very much, I would say in a bearish trend at the moment in the crude oil. Okay. And really, there's nothing here to kind of keep this from happening. And maybe as low as 71.72. This market can get as low as 71.72 before we start to see some support here on the buy side. Okay. All right, so let's start to add some of these other levels here. That's we've already reached the ADR low zone, which little to no reaction yet, but looks like we are we're coming into an area of demand here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add our levels here. All right, so these are the levels that I'll be looking at. Okay, so these are the levels I'll be looking at in the crude oil today. All right, so we have our ADR zones. I'm just going to double check, make sure I capture those correctly. 72.68. Yes, we've already exceeded it. All right, so that could spell for a potential, sustained auction to the downside. Okay, but I have to, I have to be guarded because I am coming into not only an ADR zone, but I suspect that we are pretty close to ASR there as well, right? So this area is somewhat supportive, okay, for a potential area for reversal. But given the fact that we are so close to this level down here, I feel like we're going to come down here, 71.72, before we test this area before we make any significant reversal. Okay, I'm just gonna do a quick measure here. I'm seeing something in the way of a swing, so I'm going to measure this a little bit, see where this takes us. Yeah, so we've already reached the 100% extension of this most recent swing. So it stands to reason that we could potentially rally from these areas. Okay, 72.33, maybe back up to VWAP, maybe back up to settlement price. But this to me seems more of a counter trend trade. Okay, can't expect too much in the way of where this trade could go, right? But I do see that we've reached the 100% extension. Okay, 100% extension of this swing right here, right? This swing right here. Take this retracement and project that down. Okay, project this line down, and we basically have reached the 100% extension of this most recent swing. Okay, so the feeling is that we could potentially rally from this area. Don't think it's going to go much more beyond, say, 73.21 or 73. Okay, that's kind of my current feeling here, right? So while the market is bearish, has come into an area where we could potentially find we are a bit extended to the downside in this market. Okay, so I have my levels. We are again similar to, well, no, we're not. We're below. Okay, below value. All right. So below value indicates that bears are in control, but this quickly could change, right? So if we get a close, I got a lot of lines here, but if we get a close here inside value, we could potentially get a full rotation through value. Okay, so drawing this line right here, we're right at value area low as we speak. Okay, you guys see that, right? Value area low as we speak. So if we do manage to get a close, there is a potential that we could get a rotation through value here. Okay, right? We're right at this value area low level. If we get a nice close inside, then we could rotate all the way up to 70. What is that? 73.24, which would make for a nice return on the trade. I have not. So let's go ahead and turn on anchored VWAP. Okay, so let's add anchored VWAP to the open. All right, I'm going to put it right here. So I'm going to be monitored, or maybe even move it to the pivot here, right? So let's move it over here. Okay, so as long as price stays above anchored VWAP, then I feel like there's a potential that we could have a rally in this market back up to VWAP, or back up to settlement, or back up to what used to be prior support. Okay, could be resistant. Okay, so 73.10 seems like a logical potential rally in crude oil. All right. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions that you have on crude oil market right now? Like I said, I'm going to be interested to see how this current candle closes. Okay, if this current candle closes as kind of a 3-bar reversal, maybe there's a potential here that we could get a rally up to these levels that I had mentioned. Okay, I'd like to see it get a close above this anchor VWAP. I'd like it to maybe close above at least this ADR zone, ADR low zone, and then maybe it opens up for a rally back up to the daily VWAP. Okay, all right. So that's kind of what I'm seeing on the crude oil market. So let's go ahead and move on to the equities. Okay, so we'll move on to the equities. We'll start with the NASDAQ. Okay, we're going to remove all our drawings here. Okay, and turn off some of these levels that we have drawn on our charts. Okay, because right now we're just trying to get We're just trying to get a feel for what the market is wanting to do. Okay. So first things first, we want to look at the daily chart. Okay. Looking at the daily chart again, what is the market trying to do? This looks awfully similar to what we saw in the gold, right? If you remember, we got this really kind of rally, okay, from the lows. Now we have another inside candle that's headed lower, right? We didn't get a follow through candle indicating that the market wanted to go higher. No, instead we got an inside candle indicating that maybe we have some more room to the downside in this market, right? You see this series of candles here. We got a series of candles that are creating lower lows and lower highs, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower high. So again, we are in a bearish kind of trend in the Nasdaq on the daily. Looking at the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart again, again, still very much in bearish structure here, guys. Okay, so if I'm to forecast this a little bit, if I took a look at this from a 4-hour perspective, right? We'll look based on the 4-hour, we have the potential of getting down to 16,000. Okay, based on the 4-hour. Okay, if we are to maintain this structure, that's what Fibonacci is telling us that our market could lead to. I'm not saying that that's going to happen on today. Okay, not saying that that's going to happen today, but if it's going to follow this structure, and this is indeed the retracement, then if I forecast this move right from here, okay, from here, let's see, okay, from here down to here, right? And I take this and forecast it from this retracement. Sorry, that's not what I wanted to do. This one right here. Well, we're looking at one of these moves potentials. Okay, that's kind of what I'm seeing on the 4-hour. Okay, 30-minute. Okay, 30-minute chart. Okay, we are below VWAP. Okay, this is our daily VWAP. We are below that, which is again another indication, but we've been above and below it of late. All right, so it seems like we're in a bit of a range. Okay, as long as we stay below 18,274, again, doing a little my little forecast tool here. Okay, if I do a forecast of this most recent swing, okay, right here, right, if this is my swing, where could price go? Well, here we are again. This what was this? 18 oops. Right, we're looking at 17,909 as a logical extension of this current move lower. Okay, that's kind of what I'm seeing here, right? Based on this move. If I take this wing and this retracement, this is a logical location for where price could lead to. Okay, let's go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile. We're going to go ahead and locate the 630 bar or 930 bar. Going to drag that across to the 430 bar. Here we are. Okay, so right now market is about 20 minutes away from opening, and we are inside value. Okay, we are inside value. So this could be an area of balance. And notice where this value area low is. Well, this value area low is right where I have this 100% extension. I don't think that's by accident. Okay, I think that is a natural location for price to potentially reach. Okay, today. All right. So that's kind of what I see there. All right. So let's go ahead and capture some of our levels here. Okay, so go ahead and add these here. All right, so here are our levels that I'm looking at. Okay, so I have a demand area that I've established here at 362 down below. Okay, all right, 362 down in this area here. I found some demand on the 4-hour. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up our ADR. Okay, those are ADR levels. And then let's go ahead. Well, let's see. That's not a surprise. ASR is, so we're going to wait for ASR. We're going to go ahead and open up our settlement price. Initial balance is still, we're still, like I said, we're about 20 minutes away from the open of this market. So I'll wait for that to open before I open up my initial balance range. So what could happen here? Well, we've already kind of reacted away from settlement price, but we didn't get too far away before it came back to retest it. Okay. So right now it feels like, again, it feels like we are inside balance. We're going to wait for the market to open, but the market feels heavy to me. Okay. It feels like it wants to go a bit further. Now, there is always the possibility that we could create a bit of a double bottom here right around settlement. Okay. I need to see more evidence of that. Right now, again, if this area, if we do close below settlement, right, then obviously we have the ADR low zone, which is right around that level. Okay. We have a lot of confluence here, guys. You see, we have value area low, we have ADR low, we have this fib extension. All three of these levels are telling us that there's the potential of price reaching these areas. Okay. Before we see anything in the way of a reversal in price. All right. So that is kind of what I'm seeing on the NASDAQ. I'm going to go pause here to see if there's any questions. Okay. I have my levels here captured. We've already talked about at least a couple of scenarios, one both bearish and bullish, right? So if I'm bullish in this, I probably need to wait for lower prices here, right? I need to wait for ADR low, potentially value area low. That might be an area, okay, that I could, could offer us opportunity to the long side. But there's no reason to fight it, right? If the market wants to go lower, then we need to find areas that we want that would support that, right? So anything along the lines, I might actually even draw an anchor VWAP on the top, on the high of the day here. Okay, just before. Let's see. We're gonna go ahead and do maybe an anchor VWAP right at the highs. Okay, of today. All right. So as long as we stay below that anchor VWAP, right, then I have to think that we are going to continue lower in this market. All right. So that's kind of another line in the sand that would tell me when it's, maybe potentially time to look to look the other direction. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking at opportunities that provide me, trades that will lead lower. Okay. Okay. So I need to sell strength. I need to sell areas highs. I need to sell highs to participate in this in a lower trade. Okay. All right. Just double checking. I don't see anything in the way of questions, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the ES market here. So I have that over here. Move this. I know, quite sloppy. So you can see how many different markets I'm watching here, guys. Right. So here's our ES. We're going to go ahead and again remove our drawings. Again, we're going to turn off some of these levels here because I don't need them at the moment. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and start with the daily. All right. So the daily, again, what is the market trying to do? Well, if I had just this, if I had nothing else on this chart, I'm sure everyone would say that the market is headed lower, right? There's nothing in here that tells us that we're not in any sort of structure other than bearish. Okay. Now we start to bring in some more context, and we see that we are coming into this level here, maybe a potential demand zone here at, we've already kind of reacted away from it, right? Some buyers did step in. Okay. But I see that we do have a little bit of a demand zone here, right? On the daily zone, on the daily level. So 5,100 seems to be a supportive level on the in the ES. Okay. Now, if we do manage to get break below that, well, watch out below, right? 4,900, 4,850 will start to come into play. 4,940, right? 5,000. Okay. So this area is a relatively important level to hold if we are going to reverse in price. Okay. So let's see, for our chart. Okay, for our chart, telling us relatively the same things. I'll go ahead and turn off initial balance. We don't need that at the moment. Okay, so again, again, we see that same little formation that I mentioned earlier, right? If I take the top of this and this over here, and I treat this as a pivot, Well, what's the 100% extension? Well, it says that this market from a 4-hour perspective can reach 48.27. Okay, based on this swing right here. Okay, based on this swing and this retracement, this is the level that it could reach, 48.30. Okay, you're welcome, Frizu. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing on the 4-hour chart. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart, again, we are below the some of the items that we care about, right? We're below the daily VWAP. We have yet to make it below the settlement price, right? Again, there's also always the possibility that we create a little bit of a double bottom here and rally from this area. That's not completely out of the question. We have already reversed away, okay? But nonetheless, we still remain in this bearish structure, and the fact that we are below the daily VWAP also tells me that we should be looking for lower prices. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can locate my anchor VWAP. I'm going to do the same activity I did with the NASDAQ. Okay, that's going to be my line in the sand there. Okay, if we cannot get above this level, then I have to continue to look for opportunities to the downside in this market. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead now that we're on the 30-minute chart. We'll go ahead and open up the range volume profile. We'll go ahead and locate the 930 bar, drag that across to the 1330 bar. Here we are. We're right just on the edge of value. Okay. Just on the edge of value here. Right here, price is just hovering right there, okay, and it's just kind of creeping inside value, okay. If we do get a close, which we already have, that could lead us to a full rotation, all right, full rotation through value, okay. We can reach at least settlement price and maybe all the way through to the other end of value before we see any sort of move to the upside. So 51.95, 5200. Seems like a logical area for consideration. Okay, again, I'm going to do my little Fibonacci extension measure here, okay, to see where that's going to lead us. And sure enough, look where it leads us. It leads us exactly to where value the value area low is. So if I'm a buyer, this is the level I'll be waiting for. Okay, this is the level that I could expect some maybe a potential reversal in price. Okay, similar to what we got here. Okay, otherwise I'm going to be looking for opportunities to the downside. Okay, maybe off of anchor VWAP, or maybe off the initial balance once it gets established. IB low. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking at. Oh, let me before we go here, let me go ahead and add our levels. Okay, I'm going to add our levels here so everybody has them. Okay, so these are our levels. Okay. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I mean, if you are concerned about volatility, and the fact that, and also, protect some of your capital. I find that, trading some micros, it kind of eases the mind a little bit, especially if we're concerned with the capital, then trading the micros might be a good alternative, because it allows us to trade our process and not see the gyrations in our P&L change and cause us to do things that we would otherwise wouldn't, right? So yeah, trading the micros will reduce the capital, right, on the trade, and that in turn will allow us to trade our process, which is at the end of the day what we need to do, right? Because if we trade capital, we'll make decisions that we often regret, right? So yeah, micros would be a good way to manage that better. Okay. All right. Let's see what else. Let me open up the ADR zone. Okay. So you see how we got a nice reaction. I need to start trading London. We got a nice reaction away from ADR here, right, on the short side. Okay. So we got rejection. Finally, it wavered. So that's why we have these zones here, guys, because they offer us reversal zones, right? price came up to ADR high and reversed away from it. Now we're kind of in the middle. We're up against the value area high. The question is, are we going to reverse from here to the long side? Okay, if we could stay above value area high, that's a possibility. Okay, if we manage to get below and we break some of the structure below, then we get down to settlement, maybe down all the way down to value to ADR low and value area low for that matter. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing. That's kind of what I'm seeing in the S&P. All right, that's what I'm seeing in the S&P. Last market I'm going to take a look at. Got about 8 minutes to go here, so I'm going to take a look at the Dow. All right, we'll take one peek at the Dow, and then we'll potentially call it a session unless there's a burning desire from someone to look at some other market here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up the Dow. We're going to go through the same exercise we just did with the other markets. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start with the daily here. Okay, I don't have any levels captured for this market. Okay, but as you can see here, you know, it's no different than what we've been seeing in these other markets, right? We are in this kind of bearish structure, right? We have lower low, lower high, lower low. Okay, series of candles with gaps to the downside. Okay, people can't sell this enough. Okay, it's what it amounts to right now on the Dow. Okay, 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart, again, similar kind of action, right? We got lower lows, lower highs. We had a little bit of brief rally here, only to be met by sellers, and now we continue in our move to the downside. Okay, 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart. Okay. So again, we're going to go ahead and do our volume profile business, and that's going to go ahead and locate. Okay, we're going to go ahead and locate this bar here, drag this across to 430. Okay, there we are. So similar to what we were seeing, this is a little bit further along in closing inside value. Okay. You see it's inside value here, right? It's a little further along. It's coming up on settlement price, okay? This area could offer a little bit of a reversal in price, okay? Let's go ahead and open up ADR, see where we stand on that. Okay, ADR, we're kind of in the middle of the zone here. So let's see. Let's start capturing some of these levels. So we'll go ADR. Let's see, ADR high here is, what is that? $39,334 is ADR high. Okay. The ADR low. ADR low here is 38,701. 38,701 is ADR low. We have our volume profile high. Volume profile high here at 39,985. 39. Is that right? Let's see. Maybe I misspoke there a little bit. Yeah, 38,985. 38,981, I think it was, value area high. Okay, and then value area low is 38,744. 38,744. We have settlement. Okay, that's value area low, and then settlement is at 38,848. That's settlement. And say point of control is just below settlement. Not really going to offer us all that much. So we got 38,830 is point of control. Okay. So those are my levels. Those are going to be the levels I'm going to be looking at for potential, opportunities. Okay. But now it's not just the levels, not just location. I also need I also need price action to indicate to me that it is going to be supportive, right? So in the case of YM, if I'm going to be looking for a bullish opportunity, well, guess what? What do I need to see? Well, I need to see a break of structure to the upside. Okay, I need to see price close above, and ideally, I want to see price already at a location where I can manage my risk. So I need both, right? I need location and I need price action. If I get my location and I get the price action that I'm looking for, then I participate in the trade. Otherwise, I just sit and wait for location and price action to support my trade. Okay. All right. I think that's it for me, guys. If there are any questions, on the Dow, I'm happy to take them. If there's any questions in any other market, I know that we haven't really covered RBOB and platinum of late. Don't see that there's a whole lot of interest in those markets. I don't have my Tron. Tron hasn't been around for some time, so I don't know if there's any other interest in any other markets. I'm happy to entertain it. I can take a quick peek. If not, then we can go ahead and close the session here with the Dow. Okay. Let's give you guys a little 5 seconds here to do that. If there's any questions, otherwise, we're going to go ahead and close the session. Again, encourage you guys to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Encourage me to come out and do these every morning. Okay, it's I don't know if you know this, but I am in the Pacific time zone, so this is about let's see, I come to do this at 5:30 every morning. All right, to support the preparation for the market. So yeah, don't be hesitant to hit the like buttons. Don't be hesitant to comment on the recordings that I make available on YouTube. Otherwise, guys, I'll leave you with trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. All right, guys, have a good day of trading. And we'll see some of you in group coaching. Others of you will see you guys back in pre-market tomorrow. All right. You're welcome, Alejandro. Hasta la vista.